going into 1-1. So,
it's a small little time saver. It's a bit annoying to do when you're resetting, but at the end of the day, it's probably just, I mean, it's not that bad. It just is what it is.
It really just kind of makes for you get your little, like, 1 minute reprieve from doing runs when you're doing RTA attempts. So it's not a terrible deal. Anyway, so yeah, is anybody ready on timer and we can go ahead and jump into the run itself?
You are good to go.
Okay, cool. I'll count down from 5. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. I will also be hitting my own splits because I'm just comfortable with having splits. So yeah, okay. And Ghoul, if you'd like to, could you go ahead and explain just kind of what the purpose of the 2-player is?
Right, so normally when you start this game, you have just DK. And DK has pretty basic. He runs, he rolls, he jumps. Each of your partners has different abilities, and in 1-1, the game kind of like tutorializes a bit and says, you can only get a Diddy barrel here, and normally the barrels rotate. But Cranky is the fastest for this level by about 10 seconds or so, I think. So it's actually faster to start the game in 2-player mode, so that you can have Cranky immediately, and then you just kind of grab Cranky and he'll go on your back and it acts like a normal run. We don't let you start with Cranky without going as 2-player mode, just because it's not what would happen with a new file. A new file, you would have 0 bananas, no tokens, 4 lives, and solo DK. Started in 2-player mode, you would have actually Cranky, but it also costs time to drop 2-player mode, which is why you still have to use 2 controllers for the beginning of the run. It's just trying to stay consistent with what's possible if we started without the opening cutscene, or with the opening cutscene, basically. If I explained that well?
No, yeah, I think that definitely explains it. You kind of have the different powers of all the Kongs, and we can kind of go through them as you see them. Because of 2-player, of us being able to utilize the second player and start with whoever we want, it does change it to where, what? Oh, are you kidding me? That's stupid. Sorry, the Wiimote, which is acting as the second player, decided to die on me there for a second. Sorry, we're almost done with it. Also, my opening load time was butts, so...
I was wondering what that was, but that's... Yeah, you gotta make sure the batteries are charged before...
Yeah, no, the batteries are fine. It had just been sitting there while we were explaining it before we started the run, and I forgot to press a button on it. So, yeah.
So anyways, I guess while we have Cranky, I'll go into what Cranky does real quick. Cranky's ability is that he has the pogo. So if you play like DuckTales, it's kind of the inspiration for it, where you jump and then you can pogo off the ground and like you don't get touched by spikes and you go slightly higher than a normal jump. And that's kind of the basic concept. Now the reason it's so good is because it keeps all of your momentum. So you can actually abuse a lot of different things with it just because Cranky's pogo keeps all of your speed, which isn't the case for Diddy and Dixie. So, as much as I hate to admit it.
Yeah, Ghoul here is pretty famous in the community for being quite the Dixie Kong lover. Which I get after playing DKC 2, but... And she is, like, when you play this game casually, you're pretty much going to use Dixie everywhere. A lot of people, like, just refuse to use Diddy and Cranky. Because Dixie essentially gives you a double jump.
And, yeah, she's kind of broken for normal play. She still has a couple of levels where she shines in the 80% run, but for the most part, you want to use Cranky whenever possible, just because he's a bit faster and easier to use a lot of the time. I'll go into why he's a bit easier to use later as well. But...
To explain a little bit there, one of the kind of throwbacks to Donkey Kong Country 3 that you just saw is there's water skipping in this game. There's no specific timing you have to do or anything. It's just keep rolling through the water and you'll naturally bounce as long as you've got a Buddy Kong on your back.
Yeah, actually we should go ahead and say that real quick. The rolling like that, you can infinitely roll when you have a Buddy Kong, but when it's just solo DK, you have to roll and then jump to keep your speed. You can't just continually roll. So it's always advantageous to have a Buddy Kong. Pretty much. I know Spike is a fan of using 2K solo DK, but Stupid.
That's because I'm bad. Let's see here.
But yeah, for the most part, you just want to have a buddy Kong just because the abilities and the ability to infinitely roll, obviously very advantageous for a speed run.
Okay, let's see if I can get this heart right here. I did, but that... Oh my god, I can't believe I made that work. Okay.
So this right here we call the NK bounce. Essentially, there's a very specific pattern for this bounce where you hit the right spot and then do full bounces. You just sneak through this whole section without getting bopped, and that allows you to just go straight through, damage boost, and go right to the end of the level. Normally, if you miss that and take a hit, you have to slow down a little bit, or grab a cranky barrel before the end of the level. So it's actually a pretty nice little thing to get. It saves about 4 or 5 seconds if you do it properly.
Just as a reminder, we have some incentives coming up that we should hit if you would all be so kind to donate. Super Mario RPG is coming up, and the Kill Kulix and Jinx incentive has $19 out of 200. No one has named the file for Super Mario RPG as of yet, so make sure you get some incentives in for that. And then, of course, don't forget that there's still the ever-popular Save the Animals, Kill the Animals donation battle going on for Super Metroid later. So make sure to get your money in.
Right here, first auto-scroller in the game. It's one of the famous minecart levels from Donkey Kong Country. So cool stuff with them in this game, where they've got depth and they've got some cool 3D effects in them, but they're still auto-scrollers.
And while scrollers, believe it or not, there are ways, like, there's one level in particular that we're not going to go to, a minecart level, where you'd think, okay, just go through the level, you're going to get, like, there's a time attack function in this game. Why would there be time attacks for these levels? There actually are ways to speed yourself up in the cart. In Returns, it wasn't very deep. It was basically just jump up slopes and you're good. And I have to admit, I've never really researched it. I'm probably the worst in the community about this. But there are ways to, like, maintain a little bit of momentum when you're, like, going up slopes and whatnot.
Essentially, as I'm not great at it either, what I understand is that when you go downhill, you go slightly faster. So if you jump right before the end of slopes, and I'm not 100% sure on a lot of this, but if you jump before slopes end, and then you continue to jump, the game doesn't have enough time to reset your speed to whatever the current slope you're on is. So in general, if you go downhill, and then you could go to a flat area and continue to jump, you'll keep some of the speed from going downhill. There's also, of course, that also works going up hills as well, where if you jump up a hill, you kind of keep the speed from the flat section, even though you're supposed to slow down as you go up the hill. That's what I, in general, understand. It's much more complicated than that.
Yeah.
I've done by 4-2. Like, I did what I thought should be best for 4-2, and I'm still way behind what a great time for that level is. But for the most part, like a perfect 1-4, which is the level Spike is on right now, is about 2 seconds faster with perfect jumping. And I can tell you right now, perfect jumping in this is terrifying.
Yeah, it does. It all of a sudden turns this level into, like, a reset point, as opposed to, alright, it's just a nice little calm before you get to World 2. No, all of a sudden it's, like, balls hard. And like we'll say, it's more terrifying than it is hard.
It's just not really worth it for... Usually you could save maybe a second if you execute it perfectly, and it's not really worth the headache in a lot of cases, because...
So right here we've got the first boss of the game. The bosses in this game, sadly, are... I mean, they've got some interesting stuff to it. This is definitely not one of them. Well, other than, like, one particular part that we'll point out when we get there.
Got their moments casually. They're just a bit on the long side is kind of the problem with them.
Definitely, go ahead.
I was going to say, when you first learn them, like, there's actually some really cool tricks to speed these up. But there are a lot of points where you're just like, okay, let's move on. You know, like right here, he's throwing the free fish out, which I don't know, the screen delay throws it off a bit, but You know, he throws those fish out. It's just you just wait a long time, and like the bosses have a lot of character. It's a lot of fun because of that, but they are generally very slow.
And it sucks because the levels are generally like pretty fast paced. So it feels like you go through 4, 5, 6 levels in the run, getting in the world, getting up to the boss, and the boss feels like it takes forever.
It's more of fun. It's almost as much a function of how fast the levels themselves feel and how many like cool tricks there are in them versus how the bosses are, where there's just a lot of waiting for the boss to go through the animations. And each of them takes 9 hits, which is just it's a lot. I think
it's a bit excessive.
Yeah.
Like the first boss in Donkey Kong Country Returns, one of the advantages of DKCR to this, first boss takes like 30 seconds. Whereas this one's going to take like over 2 minutes.
Yeah, well, that's part of that. These bosses all kind of don't let you hit them twice in a row. You have to go let them do their stuff before you hit them again. With one exception, but we don't do it in any percent.
Alright, cool. So that was actually like the one real piece of, like the one trick there in the game is early fat ass number 2, as some people in the community call it. Is basically just timing your bounces to where you get enough hang time there to hit that second fat fish while it's like way up in the air.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool little trick. It saves, I think, 2 or 3 seconds over waiting for the fish to fall, which is
it feels like it's probably about 2 seconds for waiting
it's
it to
surprisingly
get
long, but there's not a reason to ever not go for it. It's actually relatively simple. You wait for the first fish to bounce and be at the peak of its jump, and then you hit it then, and then just full pogo, full pogo, full pogo. So you'll see us say full pogo a lot. Basically, all that means is holding the jump button as long as possible while using Cranky, and you go to max height. And we use it a lot for spacing. Like, we call them full pogo, minimum pogo. And you can do a lot of tricks, just, okay, this is full pogo all the way through. Full pogo, minimum pogo, full pogo. That's kind of our way of using Cranky to space out jumps so that we can do some of the harder jumps in the game. Or harder tricks in the game.
Alright, welcome to World 2. This is definitely where I think the game and the run comes into its own. Unfortunately, so how do I want to handle this? I'm actually, because I want to show off how this is supposed to be, I'm going to lose like probably 40 seconds here. I cut that first jump there a little too short. I'm actually going to leave the level and grab Cranky and then come back in.
Player?
Probably I'm gonna bring in the second player.
Okay, I was gonna say that'd be faster than going back to level 1.
Option.
There's a reason for this. 2-2 with Cranky is a very, very interesting level, and I'll let Spike kind of do it before talking about it. But you have to have Cranky entering it because the only barrel in the level, only 2 barrels are Dixie barrels. And Dixie is cool, but she's not great for that level.
It's particularly for 2-2, that I want to go ahead and do this. Again, it would have been faster if I just moved forward. I would have lost a little bit of time, but we'll try to cut this a little short. I'm trying to not get hit by this fat ass that's coming up here on this platform, but I cut it a little too close.
Something interesting about this, 2-1 is actually fastest with Dixie for an IL. But again, since you have to finish the level with that character, there's no way to get to Cranky in this level, so you have to carry Cranky through one boss into the next area to do this as fast as possible. But using Dixie here would actually save about 3 seconds. So it's a nice little interesting tidbit from just what single segment in this run is versus doing just straight ILs. And the reason is, coming up there's a jump that Dixie can make that Cranky can't, and it saves about 3 seconds over the skips Cranky's capable of in this level. Because Cranky really can't do very much in here that Dixie can. So that spot right up to the barrel into the where the chairlift is going down, Dixie can jump and then flutter immediately and make this jump. She doesn't have to wait for the platform to move. Other than that, the 2 levels are identical. And again, Cranky saves about 10 to 15 seconds on 2-2, so it's worth it to use Cranky through here.
Ooh, hey, we have a donation.
Sick.
$10 from Brown Hair Hamster. Hey there again. Great day Day key. Wow.
Sick.
All right. Oh, let's try this again.
Welcome to the morning. All right, let's do
Yeah. Welcome to 2 p.m. Good morning.
this.
Hey there again. Great DK runs so far. And this run of DuckTales with Monkeys is going well too. Put this $10 towards Super Mario RPG file name DerpyH. Thank you for your donation, brown hair hamster. Sorry for fucking it up.
All right. So yeah, this is 2-2. This is, I mean, as stupid as that death was in 2-1, this is where I really think the run starts. This was the level when we started speedrunning this game, where in learning the game, it got, all of a sudden we just hit a wall. And it's mainly because of these boosts. So what's really cool about this game is that there's a lot of ways to store momentum, and I'm sure Ghoul can explain a little more about it. You can see a little bit of it right here.
I'm gonna let you do the trick first, and then I'll explain it. I think it'll have a bit more of a wow factor that way.
Okay, cool.
So.
And before I just shit the bed, but alright, let's go.
I have faith.
Ah, mistimed it. Okay. A little early there. Let's go.
Alright, I'm assuming he got it right there. Anyways, in this game, when you start rolling on a platform that's moving, the game can add the platform speed to your roll speed. And normally you get it for one jump or something, and that's not a huge deal. But when you have Cranky, you can actually pogo to hold the speed. You can actually use it throughout a much longer section. So right here.
Oh baby, I got like the perfect pogos.
Oh yeah, that is pretty beautiful. Oh wow, that was one of the best ones I've ever seen.
Ooh, that was nice.
But anyway, so since you can hold that speed while pogoing, that's one of Cranky's biggest advantages over Dixie, is that he can hold all of that speed for as long as possible. So anytime there's a platform moving, you're going to see us try to hold that speed as much as possible. So, there's other interesting mechanics with Cranky's Pogo, and I can actually go into a couple of them on the next level because it's a good chance to explain them.
Hey Spike, the next time you get a loading screen, can you boost your game volume a little bit?
Yes, I can. I'm actually leaving a loading screen right now, but after this level, I'll do it.
Cool, thanks.
This is an interesting level because there's kind of two different routes. The Cranky route is about 2 seconds faster than the Dixie route, but
if you do like IL perfect strats,
IL
which none of us do,
are 2 seconds faster with Cranky than Dixie. Otherwise, it's relatively similar. It's about a second with the route that I do. I use Dixie here. People wonder why it's a joke in the community that I use Dixie everywhere. This is one of the reasons. But anyways, one of the reasons this is so hard to do the IL strat with Cranky is partially because of these cycles. These are global cycles, so if Spike messes up somewhere, he either has to wait for the cycle to reset, or he's just going to jump into a pit and die. Dixie's route has actually 0 cycle tendency, so no matter how you do this with Dixie, you can actually continue to do the level. Another little trick about Cranky's Pogo is that on platforms that are moving, if you hit a platform that's moving towards you with the Pogo, it'll actually add the platform speed to your speed. If you do a Pogo with a platform that moves away from you, it'll subtract that speed. So there's actually a really cool little balance in this level with Cranky where you can't Pogo off a platform that moves with you.
okay, cool. Okay, cool. I was sitting like, oh god, I can't hear it. I've thankfully done that last jump enough. If you do that final jump correctly, then you're just able to grab the grass like I was able to at the very end of that level. If you jump just off, if you miss it by a little bit either way, then you have to usually throw in a pogo, which only wastes like, a second or two. But still, it's nice to hit it.
Because she can we still haven't used Dixie yet, but you'll see it soon enough. With her flutter, you can stay up higher for a longer period of time. It makes it a much more forgiving jump. But so this is the second auto-scroller in the game. Oh, semi-auto-scroller. There are truer auto-scrollers coming up, but
Yeah. In general, like, the minecart levels in the newer DKC games are the ones that you can speed up. Whereas the other ones, the rocket barrel levels that, are pretty famous for casual players for being very frustrating, they sadly, even though there was a myth back in DKC Returns, you can't actually speed those levels up. Some people thought if you were going, like, perfectly straight in the level, then it somehow saved time. No, that's not the case at all. Once you actually get in the barrel and start moving, then you're done.
Yeah. Why those ILs
so
are so tight on the leaderboards, just because it's get into the barrel and then get to the end as soon as possible.
It's amazing. Maybe the biggest contribution that runners like Miles SMB, who's obviously known for Metroid Prime and Super Monkey Ball runs, Darkspine Sonic, who's known for all those like 3D Sonic runs. Their biggest contribution is the frame war they had over this game, or over the next auto-scroller that we're going to run into in World 3, which is a rocket barrel level, which was just essentially getting into the barrel and blasting off as fast as you possibly could.
Another person you could actually name for that would be Five-Leaf Clover.
Oh, right. Dude, I completely... No, I forgot about
For his Mario Kart 8 shenanigans, although he was the person that started the Sky Troop at all of us on Tropical Freeze Energy, so...
Right. So big shout-outs to him.
Here, this level actually has a really terrifying end if you go for IL strats. There's a little hill that you go slightly faster through this last section than the developers intended. And you can have what I call ghost jumps, where you'll kind of jump onto a platform and then just fall through. Like, you'll see yourself level out and then just fall off. It's really weird. It's really bizarre if you ever watch the IL, because you actually jump on those platforms that are flying through. But you have to have just nerves of steel to do it in single segment runs. It saves brains, and it will kill you about half the time you try for it.
Yeah, I actually had a fair amount of runs, like, be great up until those jumps, and then have a death there, and then you lose, 30 plus seconds from having to go back. Alright, so, Ghoul, here you go. Here's your Dixie love.
Alright, so this is the first Dixie level. So while Cranky focuses on those pogos, Dixie has what we call the flutter, which acts kind of like a double jump. So when they made Returns, the original one for the Wii, they kind of gave Dixie's power from the Super Nintendo games to Diddy. So they had to kind of think of a different way to use Dixie in this game. So what they did was they made it so that when she flutters, she doesn't just keep you in the air longer, she actually pushes you up a little bit. So basically, all she did was completely obsolete Diddy, because she could do everything Diddy can, but she could do stuff Diddy can't. Except for underwater. Every Kong also has a different ability underwater, which is where Diddy starts to shine. But anyway, so you do Dixie in levels where there are jumps that Cranky can't quite make. So, vertically, anything Dixie can do, Cranky can generally do better. But if it's about horizontal distance, Dixie is slightly better. But you'll also notice, whenever you do that flutter, it resets you to your running speed from your roll. It's actually a bit dangerous to have Dixie, because if you jump as high as possible and then have any flutter, it'll reset you to your running speed instead of your roll. You normally would bank.
That's another big reason why we like to use Cranky no matter what, for as many levels as we can. Because if you miss on a jump off of an enemy, like, by just a few frames, then you'll automatically get that hover from Diddy or Dixie, whereas Cranky will just pull out his cane and it won't actually, like, kill your momentum.
Oh, baby, donations are rolling in now.
Oh, do it.
We have a $10 donation from famous Twitch streamer Bonesaw577.
Ooh.
And he says, Spike, I just wanted to say, first and foremost, how incredibly frustrated and disappointed I am with you. You never, ever, ever have a good attitude, and you never say hi to me when I'm in your stream. Put this money towards Bonesaw is a bitch. I'm just kidding, you didn't say that. Doesn't feel that way. Thank you for your donation, Bonesaw577. If you'd like to donate, make sure you click that donate button below the stream.
Thanks, Bonesaw. I love you, buddy.
This is kind of another pseudo auto scroller right here. When you're grabbing these vines, your speed is you can't speed it up or anything, so it's a nice little relaxing level. A lot of really good music, but all that much to it.
Yeah, what World 2 essentially ends up becoming is you've got the first 3 levels, and then you've got the rest of it building up to the boss, where you've kind of got a little reprieve after how rough those first 3 are. And then the boss happens.
Boss was another one. Like 2-2 and 2 boss were the hardest levels for us to ever to nail down for the 80% run. They're just very difficult until you actually understand how they work.
Yeah, in the early days, early days of people doing RTAs of this, World 2 ended like probably 90% of runs. It was pretty disgusting. Which sucked, because World 1 is a pretty straightforward world. Like, it's really never been that difficult. And then we'd get to either 2-2, 2-3, or 2 boss, and a run would die every time.
I still have more issues with 2-1 if I'm going to die anywhere in the run, or early run, which is weird.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I say that, and 2-1 is what screwed up. This World 2 has been fine, outside of that stupid death and reset of 2-1. But oh well, you do what you can. So yeah, here's 2 boss. Again, like, this is another, like, kind of focus point for me, so I'll just let Ghoul explain what he can about Scowl. In my opinion, the hardest boss in the run.
Computer's kind of going to sleep. Yeah, this is probably... Fugu's free, I say, but we'll just disagree. Anyways, this boss is probably one of the hardest bosses to learn. And the biggest thing is that if you mess up any of the 9 hits that you were supposed to get, the punish is huge. If you miss one in the first cycle, it's a minute. It was at least 40 seconds, and then the last cycle is a minute and 10 seconds if you mess it up. You're going to see he drops these 3 eggs, and you have to hit him with the eggs. It's kind of reminiscent of the first boss in Donkey Kong 2. But
yeah,
since he only drops those 3 owls very rarely, so you have to use all of the owls that he gives you every time. So this second phase is probably the hardest one to get the first time. So you're going to see Spike's going to hit the first, grab him. And then he's going to hit the second guy, let him lay there for a while, and then he has to hit him and grab the second guy before he goes off screen. And then bop the third one. It's not the most difficult thing once you learn it. But man, those first couple times you like try to do this, you just won't do it.
A lot of what tripped me up when I was learning it is that the grab function in this game is a little wonky. Like, even as recently as within the last month, I realized that if you you cannot grab an object while you're in the middle of, like, a turning around animation. So you have to be
really
very specific.
Like, turning around animations in this game are really annoying because you also can't roll during them. There are times where you'll start to turn around, you'll try to roll and then jump, which is how to get the longest jumps in the game. And you just won't roll and you'll just jump off to the doom. And it's just because the turnaround animation in this game freezes you from doing anything other than jumping. So, to be very careful with that and try to turn around in midair or when you have plenty of time.
So there is a quick kill you can do on this boss if you're stupid.
Yeah, there's for the last hit on this boss, if you jump on him and then let go of the owl at the same time, you can hit him with both your jump and the owl. But since it's very, very finicky, we don't have like a setup or anything for it. If you screw it up, it's a minute and 10 seconds lost. It will force a reset. Nobody goes for it because it saves 4 seconds. It just saves the last pogo and throw. I've gotten it one time in the IL, so that was enough for me.
The last marathon I actually did this for, I think it was the Monkey Marathon. I did it by complete accident, and I was like, okay, that's the only time I've ever gone for it. Yeah, that's the biggest problem. It's not that it's the hardest thing in the world, we just have no setup for it, and the punishment's stupid. Because again, like, once you miss a hit, he just won't give you any eggs. Go for it.
Sorry. During the boss fight, we got a few more donations. Another $10 from famous Twitch streamer, Bonesaw577. He says, I even sent you a news photograph of my pens, and I haven't even heard so much as a thank you or received a similar work of art. Reason number 7, you eat some looks like I forget to take my pill. Thank you for your beautiful donation, Bonesaw. And $25 from Red Shifter, who wants to put $20 towards SMRPG file name of Toho, and $5 towards mating up the stream. So I believe if donations are current, that's enough to get, yeah, we're up to $43 on maids, so that should overtake the bundles. Some good shit right there. Thank you for your donation.
So this level, there are there's 2 major sections, and there's a third trick you can do with Dixie. So I'm the only person that actually does this because I'm stupid. Ideally, you do this level with Dixie and carry Dixie through to the end of 3-2. However, you have to wait on the barrel cycle, and if you don't know what you're doing, it's a bit tricky. On top of that, Dixie's end for this level is very, very tricky to do consistently. But she can save about 4 seconds here and loses about a second on the next level. So. Wow.
Yeah, did you see all those saves I was doing? I almost caught back up, and then I was like, you know what? I'm not doing the jump. I am not doing the jump.
This week to see if you could land on top of the second snake.
Oh, you thought I was going for your... I haven't looked into the new strat there you were coming up with. Is there any water to it?
It doesn't save any time, I don't think. I was hoping you could get on top of the second snake and go straight into the barrel, and it would be faster than the IL world record. But Frankie can't go up high enough to do it. Dixie can't get up there. There's no way to get on top of the second snake, unfortunately. It sucks, because it's kind of cool, because you bounce on top of that first snake's nose, rather than ever grabbing that grass. Pretty cool.
No, I completely agree, NK.
What did NK say?
He was like,
terrifying.
that ending was absolutely terrifying.
I can actually do that in a single segment now. It's pretty safe to bounce on top of that first snake's nose.
That's great
also
for
means
me.
you don't have to be perfect getting there. Normally you have to get there, like, those 3 sections anyway, they're so close, like, it's so cycle-based that level is basically frame perfect for IL now. I'm 7th on the leaderboard and I'm 5 frames off the world record or something like that. And it's all just getting to those things as quickly as possible. And then the very end.
This is super interesting for me because even though I watch your stream quite a bit, Spike, for some reason I always miss like the middle of this game. Like I either show up at the very end or like show up at the beginning. And usually if I'm there at the beginning and I'm like down to watch the long haul, you fuck it up and reset. So it's really nice.
You're gonna see the whole thing.
Yeah, this is great. I'm loving it.
100 tokens is actually pretty solid.
Yeah, 101, I might actually be able to get the bonus barrel. I don't personally buy any green balloons, so at 105 I would get... At that point, I'd probably just get a second Dixie barrel and bring it into 4-1.
Marathon strats, you might want the green balloons.
That's for vaginas. Anyways, okay, so this is 3-3. So about a month ago, this turned into the stupidly hardest level in, like, any category of this game. I don't know, I'll let Ghoul try to explain it. I'm probably going to fuck it up, but let me see if I can do anything cool here.
Okay, so this level was always a bit annoying because if you died, the first checkpoint is 50 seconds into the level. So any death on this level is extremely punishing, even with the quote-unquote safe hold route. Anyways, on this level, it was recently discovered, the whole point of this level is there's these tornadoes throughout it. And the gimmick is, if they move towards you, you can roll through them, and if they move against you, they throw you backwards. Well, we found out that you could steal the momentum from when they throw you backwards, and then that was faster than your running speed. So with Frankie, just messed that up.
Yeah, I was sitting there like, it'd been a while since I even did that in any way, shape, or form, so I forgot where I needed to lay that last pogo.
Probably get the bit tornado, but I don't think you lost any time there. Anyways, so it's
No, I definitely gained time there
yeah.
from that whole process, but go ahead.
So anyways, with those tornadoes, that speed is faster than your normal, your roll speed, which is what you would normally keep through this level. So using Cranky's Pogo, we can hold that speed all the way to that barrel at the very end of the level if done properly. When that strat was discovered, it cut about 10 seconds off the IL, and only one person ever has managed to do the full thing in the IL consistently, relatively consistently. Oh, I just saw what it was.
Oh, sweet bonus barrel.
Oh, gimme Dixie. How did that not give me Dixie there, though?
Well, if you are a little bit slow through there, or a little bit high on that jump, you'll go into that bonus barrel, and it costs a lot of time. That's the most finicky Dixie barrel in the game. I don't know why.
And it's the one we want to switch to. God, bonus barrel. That's some trash, dude.
And the funny thing about it is that, like, there's another barrel previously in this level that we call the Diddy of Shame, where if you used to be, you would have Rambi at that point, and if you hit that barrel, you'd switch to Diddy. And having Diddy here loses you some time and is a bit slower, so we call it the Diddy of Shame. You accidentally did that, so.
103.
If you touch that barrel with the last pixel of Rambi's tail, you'll get it. But you can run right through that Dixie barrel and not get it, of course.
I guess since this is a marathon run and I'm up short anyways, I might as well buy 2 green balloons since I have the tokens.
I think that would be better. You could show off some of the strats in 5 and 6-5 without worrying that way.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
So.
At least the bonus barrel didn't taunt you with "Welcome to bonus stage."
That would be awesome. I almost kind of wanted to do the, add banana in now after boss fights or something.
Oh, banana. Gong, donkey, gong.
Alright, so I'm not going to say anything during this level because this is one of my favorite tracks in the game.
I will follow suit.
I was going to say, but you guys can talk, don't worry about it.
So, this level was one of those levels that was really difficult, but is actually very simple once you learn it. There's not a lot to it. It's just roll, do a couple good jumps with Dixie through. This is actually equally fast with Diddy and Dixie for the most part. But since we already have Dixie, we're going to go ahead and continue to use Dixie.
Yo, we've got a $50 hot button donation from none other than Iceplug, who says #spoonwithmeat AGDQ. I don't know if that's some sort of incentive or if that's just your plan, but either way, appreciate the donation greatly.
Please God, make that an incentive. I'd be down.
Please make it an incentive.
Oh, that one section where the flames fall kind of from left to right is about the only trickiest part of this stage. If you get there at the right speed, you can roll right through it, which Spike was lucky enough to do. If you don't, you'll get hit, and you'll have to be very careful for the next section because getting hit again will lose you Dixie, and that would cause you to just fall into the fire of doom at the bottom of the stage. Spoon with me, ADDQ.
Spoon with me.
Was it me or meat?
Meat.
I guess it'd be just as good if it was spoon with me.
Yeah, I badly want to go for the God Cranks here, but no, that absolutely would not have been it.
I thought you were gonna say I badly want a spoon with meat. Oh my god.
Now that we bring it up. Dear
Oh
God.
my goodness.
Here, there is 3 frames you can grab the cranky barrel before going in. But if you miss it, you get Diddy, and Diddy would actually force you to suicide in the level. And then you'd have to,
It's fucked up, Diddy.
Obviously, have to wait anyway. If you got Dixie, you could actually continue, but since the cycle is Diddy, Dixie, Cranky, it doesn't work. So. You
Also, I guess
we have yet to use Diddy in the run. He'll get his moment very soon, but
shout outs to NKB. You can just hold A and hover here through almost the entire level. There's 3 spots we have to go down for. Yeah, I'm just holding A right now, nothing else.
I can think of one spot I want to go down for.
A. Flatulence. Shit. Bitch.
Yeah, in general, this is actually one of the easiest levels. This is probably like the easiest level in the entire run.
Yeah. If you're not going for God Cranky. If you go for God Cranky, it's the hardest.
3 will argue with you until the day you die on that one. And
yeah, it's gonna be real. Up on my splits, no. I actually wouldn't be far at all behind my splits. It's been defined by 2 mistakes. The death I had on 2-1, which again, like, I could have just gone forward and lost much less time, but I wanted to show off what 2-2 looks like with Cranky, and I'm glad I did.
Actually, what you should have done there is you should have finished the level and then added before going to 3-2, or 2-2.
Oh, yeah, I guess I could have. But I would have had to finish it without a Kong, right?
Yeah, you finish. Well, no, you grab Dixie. Then you do the entire level.
Would that not screw that up?
Then you just go to 2-player mode and add in Frankie. It wouldn't be that hard, I don't think.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought Dixie, like, having another Buddy Kong would make it to where you can't swap like that.
I would assume they have to have some. I haven't played a 2-player strat. I am one of the few guys that actually doesn't do them, just because they're annoying and my time isn't really good enough to bother. But I would assume there's a way to switch Kongs quickly because there are shortcuts you can't. There are secret exits you can't do with specific Kongs, and I would assume that they would have to do something so those would be doable in 2-player mode without, like, doing something really stupid. This is one of those really cool levels. This level looks really cool. It's actually very simple once you learn it, which is kind of cool. But I mean, this level looks, like, really cool. There's just spikes everywhere. You're jumping off into the abyss, pogoing, but for the most part, it's just, okay, full pogo here, and you're good.
Yeah, this level's
that easy.
level's really not that bad. By the way, I tried to say Revel there. It was pretty good.
Okay, you're just turning Japanese.
I really think so.
I'm glad we were both on the same page there when he said that.
I really think so.
Alright, so somehow these idiots have become, like, maybe the most frustrating part of the game. I don't know. It's because this is, like, the biggest element of RNG in the game.
Yeah, there's actually very little RNG in this run. These guys, supposedly Goldfish thinks he can manipulate them with positioning on the second phase, but this first phase is all positioning. If you stand in the right spots, they'll always kind of do the same exact drops. Oh, that miss.
Yeah, I know that miss. I don't think that miss cost me too much time.
Actually, you can do some weird things with it. It's interesting. There's actually some really cool IL strats where you can hit them as they're kind of hanging down.
Right.
When you're
Left. Pound. Pray. Go.
So the section where the guys are on the sides, they're going to go to different heights, and it's kind of random what they do.
Dude, the technique, it worked, dude. Sick. I probably could have waited for him to throw that bomb.
Anyways, that height is somewhat random. And if they're at their max height, you can't bop them while they're kind of hanging on the side. Oh yeah, you should have waited for that guy to throw the bomb. That's fine. So right here, we kill this guy. We save a cycle by waiting for a bit and killing one. Each of these guys has 3 health, and when you kill one, they reset. So, in general, the goal is just to kill one. And then move on to the next cycle, or next phase, because they'll heal anyway. It's impossible to kill 2 in one cycle, unfortunately.
So, this is another boss where, you know, pretty much all the bosses in this game, what sucks about them is they take forever, and they're super duper punishing. So, like, right there, that 8th hit I just did, where I hit him with the pogo as he was coming down with the hammer, if you lose Cranky for some reason, dude's sick tense.
If you lose Cranky, when they start swinging those when they go down, they have 2 different animations when they go down. There's one where they swing their hammer in a circle. And Cranky can pogo that because it's considered to be almost as though they've got a spike on their head, essentially. And Cranky's obviously not affected by spikes. Sorry, Spike. Cranky's not affected by you. Anyways, on that little tip, but the other option is they'll kind of hang upside down, but kind of hang it out there in the air, and you can hit those with any Kong. But if you lose Cranky before that 3rd cycle is done, you lose a lot of time because it's at least 2 cycles for the one guy to swing down before he'll do it with the butt in the air. By the way, losing Cranky there is intentional, so we can immediately switch to Diddy at the start of Deep Heat, because Diddy's power explanation is coming up.
Finally, we're like almost 45 minutes into this freaking run, and you finally get to use Diddy.
Okay, so Diddy has kind of Dixie's old ability from Donkey Country 2. In Donkey Country 2, Dixie would, she'd spin with her hair, and she would kind of flutter down on a narrow line. And Diddy has a similar ability in this game, because that's what they gave him in returns, because they didn't put Dixie in returns. I don't know why, but they didn't.
It is what it is.
Anyways, so since he took her ability, but Dixie's kind of a better version of him, because Diddy's barrel runs out very quickly. So all he does is basically let you kind of go down in a straight line for a little bit of time before falling normally. It's not really all that useful. However, underwater, his jetpack turns into this thing where you just get a massive burst of speed. So you'll see Spike is like, while he's underwater, he's just like boom, 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 boom. And that's how Diddy's works. Each of the Kong has a different ability underwater. You'll see we're going to switch to Dixie here, because Dixie's ability, she twirls her hair like a propeller, which allows you to go through currents, which allows him to get to the secret exit up here. Diddy can do it with some finagling, but it's slightly faster to do it with Dixie. So you'll see how she's going up against that current. Diddy would have to kind of wait. Cranky swings his pogo out in front of him and kind of gets a little attack underwater. You'll see that one coming up shortly.
Love me some finagling.
You'll see
Good
right
word.
here.
I had to play it a little safe there because I screwed up the long hallway going into that spike section. But, sorry, that was only a few seconds.
It's not that big a deal. The bigger problem is just if you don't have Diddy or Dixie right there, because you wouldn't be able to get through.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, the unfortunate thing about this world is that we actually take the secret exit, because the best auto-scroller in the game is skipped. The 2 best water levels in the game for speedrunning are both skipped as well. So we kind of, like, if you just saw the 80% run of this game, you wouldn't think the water levels were all that good. And they're really not until you learn how to speedrun 4.3 and 4.4, but we skip those in 90%.
Alright, let's see if I can hit Ghoul Proof.
This is one of the coolest levels in the run, because if you do it optimally, it's the only level in the game where all 3 Kongs are used. Now granted, Dixie is kind of useless, and she actually interferes with it and makes it more difficult than it should be.
Yeah, I screwed it up, sadly.
Yeah. But anyways, if you do this perfectly, you switch to Diddy right from here through the middle section, and you use Diddy because he's slightly faster, and it saves the barrel cycle. And then you switch to Cranky to get to the secret exit. It's a really cool little combination when you do it properly. It's one of the coolest levels in the run, I think, for that reason. And it's not just that I discovered the strat. So.
No, it's an amazing level. Sadly, I screwed up with the Dixie flow there. Again, like when you bounce off of something. Oh, I guess it wasn't even that. I guess I just hit the shark. But like all the difficulties
those
in the
jumps are really kind of finicky. The way that came about is I did the IL for this a bunch. I'm actually second on the leaderboard, sending Hashing, who is literally the god of IL in this game. We don't know who he is, where he's from, or anything, but he's got like half the IL world records in the game. And that's not an exaggeration either. But anyways, I've just messed around with that, and eventually I just found out that was doable in the 80% run. So, also, that secret exit used to be really scary, and can be found a setup for it where it's actually very easy now. You just have to go max speed and then full pogo for that last section. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just as a reminder, real quick, Super Mario RPG is coming up next after this run, and we do have some donation incentives for it. If I could not be an idiot and find out where... Oh, there they are. For file names, we have Toho in the lead with $20, Derpy H right behind it with $10, and those are the 2 donations we have for file names so far. And the Kill Coolix and Jinx donation incentive is still at $19 out of $200, so we've got a ways to go in the next 40-50 minutes or so if we want to make that happen. it's they're pretty fun boss fights. So make sure to get your money in for that, and if you want to get a file name in, then by all means.
This is probably the worst level in the entire game, in my opinion. It's just really slow, really boring, and really long. It's a cool concept, but it just doesn't translate very well when you do it more than once. Basically, the concept of the level is you have to get these keys to open these chests. It just takes way too long for what it is. It's kind of worse than the boss fights in that regard. There's just not much to this level.
That being said, let's see if I can get good bananas. Yeah, good bananas.
Oh,
but no, yeah.
Banana.
But no, yeah, this level's absolute trash.
Yeah, this is why I'm actually really sad that there aren't better water levels than 90%. Because 4-3 and 4-4 are actually really interesting speedrun levels. They're levels to speedrun. And this one is just kind of bad. It just doesn't show how the water levels are actually very quick at all.
I guess somewhat to note about this level is that it is the most punishing level in the entire game. If you die, there's no checkpoints, so you just go back to the start of the level. It's pretty sick.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. Every runner of this game has drowned right before making it to the final barrel of this level, which...
It's pretty hilarious if you're a sick bastard.
Yeah. Well, it gets to be a joke in the community that whenever somebody new picks up the game, they're going to do it once, and we're just waiting for it to happen so we can make fun of them.
Alright. So, time for 4-5. I personally consider, like, outside of the craziness that is 3-3, the level back there with the tornadoes, we call it Tornado Do-Si-Do. I think this is probably, like, technically the hardest level in the game. A lot of other people will say maybe 6-5, maybe 6-1, some of the other levels. I think there's just a lot of precise stuff to hit here, so again, I'm probably not going to say much for it.
This community has a lot of very funny names, and a lot of them are my fault. So, the Tornado Do-Si-Do was a reference to the old Donkey Kong Country cartoon, where they have the banana Do-Si-Do. And I wanted to call it that, and they were like, oh, it's like you're dancing, and then like somebody goes, no, we're going to call it the Tornado Do-Si-Do. And I'm like, okay, that's perfect. So, but like most of the like cooler shots in this game actually have a nickname, just because I have too much fun coming up with them to not come up with them. Is very, very difficult to learn and execute properly. Just there's a lot to learn and do properly in this level. It's very cool when executed properly. It looks amazing. Oh man, Spike, you're not going.
Woo! The God Cannon, baby. I don't even care, dude.
Oh wow, yeah.
Oh, baby! Suck my asshole. Alright, let's see if I can get this.
What?
Oh, baby!
You just missed it though because you got hit. That sucks.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I for some reason, my brain was still on hitting that. Holy fuck, that's so good.
That was recently discovered that you could actually... We used to think it was pointed up. We didn't know you could actually hit the one going right up the top. We have found a lot of interesting things like that in this game, actually, where those barrels can shoot very weird angles, and you can do cool things with them if you do it perfectly. But it's close to frame perfect, if not frame perfect, in a 60 frame per second game.
Oh, dude, I don't give a fuck. That was so good.
I love you, Spike.
Dude, that was awesome. Holy shit. No practice. NK was just in the chat. He was like, do it. I was like, I don't know how to do this at all. Dude, I just wung it. Holy shit, that was so good. I don't care that I fucked up the strat afterwards.
Wung. What a weird word. Wung.
I just wung it. That's a word, right?
It's close enough. We'll go with that.
We'll allow it. I talked to the judges.
Alright, let's see here.
Enough where that's... Yeah, I don't think that's ever actually been done in a single segment run unless NK has snuck it into one. But I don't think NK goes for that because it's frame perfect, or like I said, it's frame perfect or very close to it, and if you miss it, you either go flying off and die or something. Like, the punish is so bad that it's better to hit the top barrel and fire normally, but it does save a barrel cycle if you can do that, so that's 3 seconds.
Okay, I got through the rough part of 4-6. It was a little rough getting up to it, but it's fine.
Yeah, so
this has slowly become one of, like, deceptively one of, like, the 10 trickier levels in any percent, I would say.
It's deceptively difficult, especially that section with those things going around in circles. If you go through those, if you mess up at all in those and bonk or something like that, which is very easy to do underwater, if you bonk, you'll actually lose Diddy.
I'm just gonna wait. If I went fast there, I could have actually had that.
Well, NK started going for it in single segment rounds. I didn't realize that. So, I didn't know if that was done in single segment or not.
Alright, we have a $10 donation from Thomas Cote? Thomas Cote?
Good name. We'll take it.
We'll take it. Thank you for the $10 donation. He said he wants to put it towards the town name for Animal Crossing to be Walmart. We'll get right on that, man. We'll make that town name Walmart for you, man. No problem, man.
Alright,
Yeah,
so probably one of, just in routing this game, this is probably one of the most, if not the most famous level, is 4-boss Fugu. And once again, I'll leave it up to Ghoul to explain that if you'd like to.
Yeah, I'll go right ahead on that. So, when we first saw this boss in the IL, we trick where when you use Cranky can hit him, but Cranky has to take 3 hits in this level. Obviously, Cranky can't take 3 hits without dying, so what it relied on was an RNG drop where you had to get at least 1 heart when you hit Fugu on the first cycle. The first heart, it was about a minute punish. And so we were looking at this and we're trying to decide, okay, you know, is there a better way of handling this? And that's when we discovered you decided to use the banana juice strats, which, if I'm not mistaken, the idea for that came from a boss in Returns. Am I right, Spike?
You actually use it on 8-1. It was just a regular level where it is a little bit faster just to be able to take damage boosts everywhere, because it's just covered with lava and shit.
Okay. Anyways, so we decided to go ahead and just buy the banana juices. And this is the entire reason for the shop trip for the most part. Most of the other barrels don't save that much time. So we had to say, okay, how can we handle this and make this consistent? And the banana juice was the answer that we found. Occasionally you'll see us have trouble with them where Fugu will get fat, and you can't hit him for like a minute. And it's another one of those levels that we just love to make fun of people for when it happens. Kind of like the drowning in 4B, because it's happened to everybody, I think, except for me, actually, knock on wood. I don't think it has not happened to me in a run. But, anyways, yeah, it's about a 50-50 fight if you do it without the banana juices. So a theoretical shopless run is possible, but going shopless would save about 15 seconds, and you'd have to reset an hour into the run about 50% of the time. So nobody has really tried to optimize a shopless run. There's just a lot that goes into it that isn't necessary. And on top of that, like, the shops help you in a lot of other levels to do things either faster or safer. Oh, wow.
Yeah, that sucks. That's actually... So this opening of 5-1, I find, is like one of the just most finicky parts of the entire run.
5-1 on the whole is a very finicky level. So, anyways, I believe Spike is going to go for a strat that we in the community call the King Zing.
Oh my god, dude. Oh my god.
No, he didn't.
I'm not used to having to do this part with Cranky now. Wow, dude.
Okay.
So yeah, 5-1, one of the worst levels in the run, IMO.
Okay. So the King Zing, normally in the IL, this level is fastest done with solo Cranky, but the IL, the barrel cycles are one ahead of where they are in the actual level. So you can't get to the Dixie barrel on cycle here, you get to the Cranky barrel instead. But in the actual level, it's easy to get there with Dixie. which means you use Dixie for the middle section of this level, and then use Cranky for the last section, which is the fastest way of getting through the level. We call it the King Zing, which is a nickname that I came up with after the boss in Donkey Kong Country 2. Essentially, Michael Goldfish optimized the entire level for Dixie. So, his name is Gold, okay. Gold, kings own a lot of gold, so he's the king part of the name. And then NKB optimized the entire level for Cranky. The ILs are about a second off. It's really tight. Dixie's faster for the beginning, Cranky's faster for the end. So we call it the King Zing when you switch between the characters inside of the level. So, a little bit of a fun fact. Again, the community's come up with a lot of really stupid nicknames for everything, but it's a lot of fun. That last section right there is the easiest part of the game to do what I call a death cycle, where you just continuously die.
I never death cycle on the last section. It's always the opening area that fucks me up.
Yeah, Spike, I just want to congratulate you on just a job well done on that level. That was really good.
That was
good show.
Rock solid.
Skill.
Rock solid, dude.
Good work.
My PB has a 1 minute death cycle at the end of 5-1, so if I lose Cranky for that last section, I just can't do it.
Yeah, the first two deaths, while annoying, like, it wasn't that punishing. The third death I had, that was like right before the midway checkpoint, so had to do it all
the
over
only
again.
really bad death. The other ones are maybe 10 seconds each. Acceptable. So right here's another auto-scroller. Again, since this is a Rocket Power level, there's not much to go over. Get into the barrel as fast as possible, which in this level you just mash the roll button and then mash the fire button once you get into the barrel. That's about it.
Which my mash was actually pretty bad there because I was being pretty lazy about it. I generally get lazy about it. Go ahead.
Is this the first level in the game that does this weird, like, dynamic 3D, 2D go?
Yeah, there's actually other levels. There are other levels in the run. It actually did go down back in the first level of the game. 1-1, they introduced it to you for one little section where you're blasting around a tree. And there are other levels.
Like you go around a tree, and it kind of like warps the perspective a bit.
It does it in 3-6, which we skip because we're taking the secret exit. It does it in 4-2, the auto scroller, which sucks. Again, that level's awesome because again we're taking the secret exit. So yeah, there are other instances. Is that the only 4 levels, or is there something else I'm not thinking of right now? Beehive Brawl doesn't do it for one little chunk, does it? I can't remember.
In general, it really only can do it for auto-scrollers, so just because of the way the game works.
Yeah.
Spot where you really can't control the character.
It's definitely one of the, seems like one of the more unique things this game offers, because it's just so interesting that it's a 2D game essentially, but it's taking place in a 3-dimensional space, and you like don't really realize it until it shifts like this, and you're like, oh.
It was one of the core things they added the auto-scrollers from. Like, when they went from this into this game from Return to the 3D perspective, the dynamic perspective stuff in auto-scrollers. Because I don't think Returns had any of those, although my memory is a bit fuzzy.
No, it didn't.
No,
it's one of the cooler little additions. It's a bit, when you first see these levels and first do them, it's a bit tricky just because, like, it's hard to judge depth for a couple of these things. Okay, how far do I have before I get to those falling fruit, for example? But it's a pretty cool little, it's pretty nifty. Not bad at all. I like that little swag bounce that Spike did at the end there.
Yeah, I like that little bounce.
Okay, I can't take any more damage here, so I'm just going to bonk the ground inside the barrel once. No big deal.
Oh, that? No, that's because I looked over at chat. That was not... I did not mean to do that. I just was like, oh, okay, he's dead. Fine. And I look over, what the hell?
Yeah, I'm trying to give you credit here, and then you just like throw it back. Nope, don't give me credit.
Bonk! Hey, it looked badass. Alright, let's go. 5-3. Shoutouts to Cruncha for coming up with the best IL strats and single segment strats for this.
I just want to tell you, Spike, that I believe in you. I think you can do it.
Thank you, baby.
Yeah.
No one's ever said that to me before. I had a really rough childhood.
This is actually another really cool level. This level used to be done with one of the ones that the whole remove Dixie bandwagon took away from her after a while.
Okay, fat ass didn't hit me. Good deal.
But no, actually, this level's much better with Frankie than with Dixie. So, yeah, Cruncher was the one that discovered the traps at this level. They're pretty legit.
Alright, and this is my favorite Pogo in the game. I'm gonna grab Dixie, Pogo right there, because for whatever reason you can on that little side. And then switch to Dixie right here.
It's one of those, it's a ledge that doesn't, like, you almost don't even realize it exists until you actually hit it. I'm not even sure how Cruncher discovered that, but...
It was complete accident.
Way to give him credit.
Yeah, dude.
It doesn't look like a ledge. Like, you just look at it and think, oh, that's just the, continuation of the thing. But no, it's a tiny little ledge that you can actually stand on and pogo off of.
Anyone could have found it. You just got lucky.
He'll tell you himself. It was a complete fucking accident. I don't know what it was. I just remember him going, whoa!
I'll give Cruncher some credit. Cruncher finds a lot of really cool IL strats for this game.
No, yeah, and Cruncher's got like 8 or 9 IL world records right now. Like, he's definitely moving up there.
Yeah. Outside, like, as far as American ILers that we talk to, it's probably Cruncher and Goldfish are the two best. NKB's got a couple himself, but he's not quite on those two's level. All the love, NK. I made a heart signal with my hands that you can't see because there's no webcam.
Just gotta have to trust him on it.
I haven't had any donations to read in so long. I want to read donations, so send money in so that I can read things. I'll even do it in a silly voice for you. Just please donate, oh my god, please!
Okay, cool, got that ledge.
This is another one of the levels that actually benefits from the shop trip. We take the secret exit here, but the middle of this level is much faster with Diddy because there's a lot of water. So we're going to switch to Diddy at the beginning and then we switch back to Dixie at the end. But since there's no other barrel in the level, we have to use one of the item barrels. So Spike actually has to take 2 hits here before the end of the level.
Which is not hard to do, honestly. I thought casually this was one of the roughest levels in the game.
Casually, to get the secret exit, it's one of the hardest things to do in the game, by far. Because you have to keep that, if you don't use items, you have to keep that barrel the entire way to the end of the level. The first barrel, and that's very difficult. Just because of this underwater section.
So I'm going to take my first intentional hit right here. And then I'm going to take my second intentional hit as I'm just kind of making an upward angle right here. That switches me to Dixie. Again, in case it isn't clear, you can't just, like, switch barrels. You have to actually lose the Kong that you currently have. Oh, whoops. Well, okay, I guess we'll do this. That was a goofy way to get here, but we'll take it.
But, yeah, it's a pretty cool, it's a pretty cool little trick or whatever that you can just use the barrel to switch without having to keep Dixie throughout the whole level, because using Dixie in the entire level is actually much harder than using Diddy, as well as being slower.
In general, Diddy's both faster underwater and he's easier to control. At least at, like, top speeds. Dixie's pretty easy to control with her regular, like, or not her regular, but her special power that allows her to go against currents. You have a lot of control there, but it's actually slower than the regular spinning.
And the regular spinning, there's a trick you can do where you start to spin and then stop, and we call that swim canceling. But if you don't know that, whenever you do that, it locks you into your momentum. So when those spike balls are coming from the right side, it's actually very hard casually to avoid them, because whenever you spin to get the max speed with Diddy or with Dixie, you just go a super long distance without being able to turn, and you're going to usually bonk into something and take a hit. So, meanwhile, Diddy's jetpack allows for like instant turning, so it's a nice little feature. Oh wow, that was a really weird pop.
Yeah, that was. Now I am down a Dixie. Alright, let's see what happens here. Okay. This all sucks, but we'll make it work.
This is probably one of the harder levels to do well. There's a lot of like little tricks that can go against you. And then like this section right here with the platforms that hop in and out can just be really finicky if you don't
Whoa, come on, dude.
have a good understanding of how it works.
Okay, so that was all like very disgusting, but on we go. Yeah, I messed up one little... This is one of the most punishing levels because everything's on, like, universal cycles in that level. So if you mess up one thing, you're usually losing, like, a bunch of seconds.
That's a
And
pretty
I
good
sadly
way.
compounded the problem. The second hit I took with Dixie was incredible. I must have been hit on, like, the last frame possible.
Literally
pretty
frame
late.
perfect. Don't understand.
Frame perfectly stupid. I'm good. Also, shoutouts to that roll I had at the end of the level. What? Go. Okay, it doesn't matter because... well, it kind of matters. Okay. Let's see if I can do some, like, cool ice physics boosting here. This is where the game officially becomes Tropical Freeze.
I use Dixie here.
Yeah, I am not good with Cranky. And it's, like, not faster with Cranky. Like, or... it is, but not by much.
This level's got some really cool stuff. With the storage of... when this game gives you speed on an ice platform, whether that's from sliding down a hill or getting, in this level's case, getting pushed by these springs.
What? Get up.
Speed. Because the way the physics for ice work, it doesn't reset you back to being like a normal speed for a while. So like eventually it will get rid of that, but since you can roll and add your speed to it, you can do some really cool little momentum boosts in this level.
Out of curiosity, was that level you just went through a giant popsicle factory? Is that
Yes!
the vibe I was getting?
Yep,
What?
Frosty Fruits.
What the hell?
Yeah, it's definitely like, as you go through this game, all the worlds are, you know, pretty standard. Like, you know, you got your water world, you got your little jungle level, or jungle world. You know, you got, you know, kind of a Sahara level. And then you get to World 5, and it's like, and now the entire island
world.
is... yeah, it's pretty sick.
Okay. What is the plot of this game right now? This mystical walrus comes and takes over the island, or the islands, I guess.
Take over all the islands.
In order to make giant popsicles? Is that really like the evil plot? Just,
I forget what the storyline of it was. Like, I know they're trying to find a home. That's the extent of what I know. Oh, bad RNG. Let's see if I get it.
Snowbats take over Donkey Kong Island, and then
I
they boot him
didn't
out.
get it.
He goes flying off. He has to take over all these other islands to get back to Donkey Kong Island, level 6.
Dang. Oh well.
Pretty much. But actually, it's kind of a cool roll 5 though, because you have this progression where they're harvesting fruits in the first levels, and they're mashing them, and slicing them up, mashing them, and then it's going to the factory where it freezes it and sticks the, stuff like that. It's actually pretty cool. And then you have the boss who's eating the popsicles as they're getting made. But
he's a hungry teddy bear.
Yep, welcome to the Coca-Cola Bear. Good boss.
so this boss is the other main source of RNG, where whatever comes out of those, it'll always be nothing, a coin, a heart, I think
Or a
that's
bomb.
it, or a bomb. And it's one of those 4 every time. Always those 4 will come, but what order they come in, that's RNG. So
The bomb's always going to be in either the 3rd or the 4th bomb. And you think, like, that's not, like, a big piece of RNG. You're just waiting for that other bomb to come. Waiting for the 3rd or the 4th block to come down. However, the way it actually works is, if you hit him early enough during that phase, you actually cancel an animation on him. You cancel an animation on him, and he's, when he comes back, he'll go straight into a phase where he exposes his weak point. But if you don't hit him fast enough, then that doesn't happen, and he wastes like 20 seconds. So, sadly, because I got the bad RNG there, like, you can still do it, it just becomes, like, pretty tight. And, unfortunately, I did not get it.
I thought you could get a first. You can get a first block bomb, I thought.
You only get first block bombs on the 7th hit.
I thought it was more in the IL hit. Okay.
Yeah, 2nd and 3rd hits will always be 3rd or 4th block.
Oh, okay, for that one, yeah. Okay, I don't... But yeah, it's a bit annoying. Also, this phase, the second phase of this fight is really long. It's fun because you can kind of bounce on his hammer a bunch, but there's just a lot that there's not much to talk about right here.
You got
kidding. Little small thing to know. Oh, wow.
That is incredible, dude. I kept having like little turnaround animations. I kept having little turnaround animations, and therefore I couldn't pick up the block or the bomb. Alright, so now I could die and lose 3 minutes. Let's see if that happens.
Small note.
The fake out!
Every 3rd hit in this boss, his fur gets dyed a little bit more purple. It's pretty cool. Pretty cute. Just a little small thing I wanted to throw out there. Okay. Don't be bad, right?
Yeah, I'm trying. Okay, this should be fine. And he's gonna slam. Okay. Alright, so it's not a big deal with like losing Cranky. It just made the end scary because if I had screwed up that last bomb throw I had to do, then I likely would have been trapped and I would have been pushed off because I can't gain enough height to get over the next set of bombs. Back when I was doing, back in like old RTA days for me, I actually lost more runs than I want to admit in that exact same fashion.
Yeah, that boss can be a bit finicky.
Go for Banana Slamma? Okay, yeah, I'll go for it once. There's this, like, stupidly precise trick that saves, like, 12 frames. I don't know. Let's go for it.
But
I
basically...
believe that you can slam the banana.
Here we go.
This is another one of those levels where we found out later on that...
I got it! How did I get it? And then I didn't react well. Okay. I don't even care. I can't... it took me by such surprise. Oh, my God.
How did you get that? That just looked like
Shit. That was amazing.
Yeah.
You got it.
You skip an entire barrel with that. There was another one of those discoveries where we found out that you could kind of fire a barrel sooner than the game wants you to and do something useful. We call it the Banana Slam because you just, like, you hit the roof, then you just bonk off that guy, throws you on to the
I'm
next.
just gonna say it. I don't even care.
I think that just confirmed that you are just a barrel god.
I like how I
do
can't
anything.
do the easy shit in this game. And then I hit Banana Slam and God
Pogo a
Cannon.
flat surface, but
We get,
shooting
like,
a
the
barrel
two
in a
frame
random.
perfect.
Yeah.
And once again, right after both of the tricks, I was taken by such surprise that I didn't actually save any time off of them. Alright, so
Yeah, that's like
Alright.
a frame perfect trick. I actually can't believe you got that in a marathon run.
God, that's so stupid.
Relatively simplistic, but yet complicated platforming. No.
No, it's not even possible.
Frame
Jumping.
perfect timing to a 60th of a second. Yeah, that's no problem. We can do that. Yeah.
Yes.
This is another one of the coolest levels in the run. This was originally a Dixie level. We found out the guy that found the strat actually has one of the best, like, unwise names I've ever heard. It was Extreme Sexiness, shoutouts, who found out that you could actually do this level faster with Cranky than with Dixie. So
How extreme is the sexiness?
it's very extreme. We're gonna let this
And
go
if
on.
I set this up right, alright, good.
It's a pretty beautiful level. Like when you see it go full speed, it's pretty awesome. I think.
Watching it go full speed right now. Am I right, Spec?
It's also the other before, so I'm kind of a bit fond of it.
Okay. That was. I'll take that. I lost like some frames in like 2 spots, but that was good enough.
Pretty solid for sure.
I'm still reeling from Banana Slammo. What the fuck was that? Okay. I've like never hit that before. I've never hit that or Dod Cannon.
Oh no, you got the banana slam at that one time where you just screwed around in the race and waited for Goldfish to catch up.
Oh yeah.
You literally just tried for it like 4 times in like one of our random races. We're just like, Goldfish had to do something for a bit, and Spike didn't want to give Goldfish a lead, so Goldfish was like, "Oh, you know what? Just go ahead and go for banana slam until you get it, and then continue from there." And they both got it, like after like 4 attempts each. So,
Okay.
but
6-3, Aqueduct Assault. Let's go.
this is a level that's really easy if you keep Frankie. If you get here with solo DK at the beginning of this level, it's total ass.
Oh. I don't know what I was thinking there. I was like, let's jump like super early. I didn't die off of it, but I wasted a little bit of time.
There's just no streamplay where I'm trying to find.
Just a reminder, you've got just a few more minutes to get in those donations for Super Mario RPG, if you want to do so. AKA, send us money, please.
Stop popping up.
You heard it here first, folks. Hashtag send us money.
Please, please, send us money, please.
Dude, skip it on the split. Screw it.
It's for a good cause that will translate to another good cause. Lots of good causes. Regardless of my shit demeanor. It's for a good cause.
Why don't you go into a little bit more of what that good cause is, because you've got an auto-scroller coming up right here.
The good cause is to bring some international speedrunners over to America for AGDQ because travel expenses are fucking bonkers. So we're going to use the money to bring some really fun, really awesome streamers over here to America. Raindrop Dry, Captain Drake, Tomtron, and maybe even a few others if we raise enough funds that are in America that don't have the funds quite yet to travel to HDQ. So getting a lot of fun people to HDQ in order to raise some sweetie swag money for charity and also create some amazing memories. So please donate so that we can do this. If we can't do it, then we'll be sad.
I want you guys to think of all those people you're going to help get to HDQ and all the mad groupies that they will be a part of. The angry groupies.
Think about how many memes will be created.
Actually, can we
because
put some
of
of these
these
funds
runners
towards the
getting
extreme
there.
sexiness to AGDQ now?
Extreme sexiness.
Well, I
Does
mean,
he still have IL record for 6'2"?
Goldfish took it a while ago.
Goldfish finally took it. Okay, cool.
We are
Also Shell's
only a quarter of the way to our goal. So if we reach our goal, that maybe we can talk that out. Who knows? But first we have to reach our initial goal, which is $6,000. We're just over 1,500, which is amazing. But we're looking to reach that $6,000 mark by the end of the marathon. So get your donations, preferably in the next 20 minutes, so I can read them because I like to read things.
Alright, so I'll talk a little bit about this auto score real quick.
Yeah, I know. We've done all we can to BS our way through this auto scroll. It's so long.
It's a longer one, but it's also one of the more difficult ones to do. You definitely have to kind of focus a bit on this. You don't have to for a couple of the other Rock and Barrel levels. Actually, it's the only Rock and Barrel that you do have to focus for.
Yeah.
This run's kind of famous for killing one of our good friends, Not So Newbie's run, so that after that.
That is still the greatest death I've ever seen in the history of this game. The 8-month history of this game, making it sound like it's been out for years, but go ahead. Yeah, I guess if we want to talk a little bit about this snowball section at the end. The snowball section is actually, it's got the same physics, basically, as the minecart. Where jumping in
circle.
I'm not sure, actually, about that. I don't know if there's momentum preservation or not for it.
Oh, is there not? I had always heard it was. It gets minecart health style, like you can see in the. Or obviously they all have two hearts,
maybe
but
it does treat it as
it's
a minecart.
denoted as a minecart. Yeah.
Maybe it does. That's interesting. I never noticed that before. Actually, that's new to me. I didn't know, but I mean, it's so short. The only thing I remember is that the first time I did this level casually, I didn't know you could jump in the snowball, so I just went like flying off the edge real early.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh okay, snowball for a little bit. Cool.
Sick.
What?
All right, inventory.
Yeah, that was pretty much the whole story for that. I don't know where I'm going with it.
So this is another level that a lot of people will say might be the hardest level in the game, and I can see where they're coming from. I'm bringing in green balloons. I generally don't bring them in here because I don't go for all the man strats. I don't know all the man strats, honestly. This is one level I have to go work on.
This level, we actually recently discovered new strats for that are even more ridiculous.
See, yeah.
Apparently, you can carry that first momentum boost the whole way through. To the first thing. It's supposed to be like ridiculous, though. So, Goldfish said he's gotten it twice. But anyway, this is another level where, kind of like with 5-6, you have ice physics and things that push you forward. So there's a lot of tricks we do here for momentum preservation to keep the speed from those springs. Especially, you'll see us add in rolls, add in extra speed in a couple spots. This is probably, for me, the hardest level to optimize outside of the Tornado Cedo. But, yeah, Spike nailed that first part. It's one of the easiest spots in the level, but, like, the strats we have now are relatively consistent. There are much riskier ones to go for as well. But, ooh, close. Dude, I think you brought that green balloon in.
Yeah, that's like the strat. I just don't even go for that when I don't have green balloons.
Yeah.
Because it saves like a very small amount of time.
Oh, yeah, my dog is barking for some reason.
Bark.
Bark.
Bark. Bark. Bark.
Barkity, bark, bark, bark.
Yo, we have...
I hate it when that
Yo,
happens.
wait.
Okay, cool. Go for it.
Yeah, we have another donation. $0 from Nobody. They say this goes towards nothing. Thank you, Nobody, for the $0 donation.
Come on, people!
Here comes the Frank Z wave. I'm gonna sneak a dog into HDQ now so that happens.
So that was basically a standard run for me of 6.5, with the exception of I actually went for that second boost that I had to use the green balloon on, which I normally just eke a like 2-second time loss and I don't throw my run away.
Probably one of the last really, really difficult levels in the run, so...
Yeah.
This level has a couple of little tricks in it. It's also, first of all, music is godlike here, like it is in 6.1 and 6.8. Second of all, this is the only silhouette level that we actually do in the 20% run. There's two others in the game, but they're only done at 100%. Which is kind of sad because these are really cool levels.
I see what you did there. They're cool.
I had to think about that one for a second. I was like, what?
Wait, what did I do?
Wait, what's
Oh,
cool?
you did it.
Oh! Alright, so there's a cool trick right here at the end of the level. Where
I see what you did there.
God damn. Oh, queef.
Dude, that briefing is a trick. Okay, go ahead.
I'm dead. How did neither of those platforms catch me? That was really weird.
Oh, did you?
I've never had that. That was really odd.
That was new death. I've not seen that one.
Yeah.
That was a
Okay,
cool death.
so there's this cool thing going on after this. This is why I shouldn't talk.
I
during
can actually
runs.
bring up something there though. Dixie, if you do a full flutter with her, where you hold the button down and flutter as long as possible, she'll go up a bit. But if you let go of the flutter at any point, she actually won't ever go any higher than the max height of your jump. So you'll see every now and then where a runner will just kind of like, they'll start to do a flutter, and then they'll stop, and then they'll pick it up again. And that's either a mistake, which is going to result in them dying because they're trying to land just barely on top of the platform, or they're trying to kind of emulate how Diddy does his very flat, steady decrease with Dixie.
I hate the part where you fall in the snow in order to skip it a little bit. I hate that part.
Oh yeah, no, it looks super scary, but it is just, for whatever reason, the barrel exists there for like a second before like that whole, like, because that's actually a really long and convoluted section you have to go through at that point. But if you just hold right as soon as you land on that platform, you fall in the barrel, and then you just wait for it to rotate around, and you can blast past
you
it.
You can do that at any point. I usually roll in, but yeah, you can run in, roll in, jump in. Just get in the barrel anyhow, and it works.
I thought it was only there for like, I thought I remember doing it once, and I brain farted and I didn't hold right, and then it was not there when I jumped in.
Well, maybe I just start mashing right and roll. So
Always grab this puzzle piece.
where there's a backup strat that I guess is obsolete now, but basically when I was first learning this game, I got lazy and didn't want to learn this level.
So this is, I've never had this happen before. I don't, what? Okay, well, we're starting the level over. Sick.
Anyways, I got lazy when I was first doing this, and I discovered that since we have Dixie's Kong Pao gives you 1 heart for every nearby enemy, basically. So you'll see a lot of early runners just Kong Pao on those first 2 enemies, so they have an extra 2 hearts because there's a skip at the end of this level, and this level's all bit like it's a difficult level anyway with all the electricity and stuff. Though it takes a while to learn and get consistent. So it's a pretty nice little backup strat that you can do that doesn't cost too much time. Yeah, that was the weirdest 6-7 I've ever seen. Like,
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I think I just brain farted. Okay, cool.
I think I kind of saw what happened there. You fucked up, and then you died.
Oh, really? Tell me more about it.
He fucked up? Whoa, I did not know that.
Holy shit. Are you fucking shit? What the fuck? Okay. So that's the end of Dixie in the run. That's her last usage, so sadly it had to be in death abuse form. But she was
Alright,
good for
Dixie,
us.
we'll see you.
You can use Dixie for the boss.
Yeah, you could use her for the boss. I will not be doing that. Kind of the standard route that most people do. You'll switch to Cranky here, which is, the fastest route. But then the final boss, it's actually the exact same speed with whichever Kong you want. It's all preference. I'm the only person who actually prefers to use Diddy on the final boss, which I actually sacrifice.
Dixie. Oh. I use Dixie just because it's the same speed, and I like Dixie best, so. You actually have to wait a bit for your cycle, though. You actually lose a little time.
But you don't have to. Like, I'm just a babby, and I don't go for, like, the God Diddy.
But, yeah, most runners will just use Cranky for the final boss, because you have him out of this level, and Cranky has a couple of properties with his cane that some people like for that boss, where when he jumps with the pogo, it seems to kind of push your hitbox down a little bit. I'm not 100% sure that it actually does, and it just makes it easier to see.
What?
There are runners that swear by it, so. Yeah, I use Dixie for the final boss normally. So maybe she said if anybody can get one in before then, which Kong does Spike use for the final boss?
what? Ah, I almost had it. That's like the hardest part of the level right there. I won't use Diddy. I need Diddy's hover to be able to do it. I'm so bad with Cranky. Yeah, the standard is most everybody uses Cranky because that's just who you'll have coming out of this level.
That's who you'll have coming out of the level, and like I said, some people like how the pogo kind of helps visualize the hitbox and maybe pushes it down some, makes it easier to hit. Pretty interesting for how to run it. There's a lot of like weird starts and stops you have to do. So
yeah, I keep going back and forth whether casually I like this level or not.
it's a cool level casually. Speedrunning, it's so janky feeling because there's so many spots where you just have to stop and wait, and that's just not what you normally do in this game. You normally are just flying by at full speed. Okay, we got a request for solo DK early throws, Spike.
Solo DK. Okay, I don't know early throws at all. I'm not going to go for that one.
I don't know. You don't really know how to do the banana slam, and you got that one.
Nah, dude. If my time was a little better right now, I probably would, but I don't want us to like go like 45 minutes over estimate. So let's not do that.
I'm just being funny anyway.
Well, it's not hilarious.
Oh.
Alright, let's see here.
I believe in you, Spike.
Thanks, baby. Alright, so yeah, I'm bringing in Diddy. Also, it makes me feel better because it gives Diddy a little more action in this run. Because as you can see, the only other place to use him was in water levels.
Diddy does become a bit more of a star in 100%. There are some really cool levels with Diddy, but he doesn't get to show off very much in 90%. It is really long and known for killing runs. It's kind of like a mini scowl in that if you miss those hits, you can lose almost a minute. So you'll see, basically the concept is he's going to throw a bunch of enemies out in front. You grab one, throw it, hit him, and then he's going to run across in front of you a couple times, kind of like K. Rool used to in the original Donkey Kong Country, and you just have to bop him 3 times each round. If you get all 9 hits, it's no big deal. If you miss one, it's a lot of time lost.
Dude, sick. Good RNG. Also, time's coming up here in the next, like, minute or two, so if someone wants to be ready on that. Well, hopefully it'll be in a minute or two.
Another little note. Oh, the first cycle is not that difficult. However, for the later cycles, you're going to notice, like right there, these little dragons are going to come and they're going to freeze all the platform. So now he's not just like, okay, I've got to get my timing right. You're also fighting ice physics to get the positioning to hit him, which is why the later cycles are more difficult.
Okay,
cycle
cool.
2 is the most
I got the first 6 hits. We're 6 for 6.
Cool. The third cycle is less punishing than the others, at least, so that's good. The second cycle is usually the one that you'll miss more commonly and actually has a much larger punishment.
No piss your pants platform, so bad RNG there. Again, like you'll hear us like talk about, there is RNG to this game. All the bosses have like some little element of RNG to them. A lot of them it doesn't matter, like you can mitigate it pretty easily.
There's one pattern for this platform hold. They'll just go fall from left to right at the kind of same way they went out, and that's technically the fastest one, but it's maybe half a second.
Oh no, NK did. About to say, NK's got world record for it. It's like 5 seconds you lose when you get bad cycles.
I didn't realize it was that.
Yeah, and once you actually look at it side by side, it is. It's like 5 seconds. It sucks. Okay, so time should be in 10 seconds. 7 for 7. 8 for 8. Come on. 9 for 9.
9 for 9 with no run on the line.
With not a single run on the line. Dude, that's 6-6 and 6-7 deaths, dude. Both of those.
Is that time?
Yeah, that is time. It was like a high 138 on my end, which is... Not very good, but that's fine. Like, I thought that was an okay showcase of the game. I wasted like a minute exiting out in 2-1 by itself, so...
Time for us, we usually do it on the final punch, where, like, as soon as your fist touches Frederick, it's just a really easy place for runners to split, so we don't have to, like, rush to hit the split button or anything.
Yeah, thank God it was sub 140. If it had not been sub 140, I would have been very sad. I have to screw up a lot to not sub 140. Still like
Time
plus
was a
3
little
to
late because you didn't say time.
Oh, it's...
you dumb dingus.
I will allow that to happen. I'll be very upset tonight. Cry myself to sleep. What did I do last night? Cry myself to sleep. Any Bo Burnham fans know what I'm saying? Cool. Alright. So yeah, that's Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. I want to give a big thanks to Ghoul. He jumped in like 15 minutes before this started. He was like, sure, I'll do it. Because I generally